Good evening and welcome to the Marshall-Lyon County Library Readers Cafe Live. And tonight we have brother and sister authors, which we don't get to have very often. That's very exciting. So we have Bastien and Sheldon Schmitt, and they're going to talk about their very different books from very different parts of the country. And they're going to talk a little bit about their writing and publishing and do a little reading from their books. So please welcome, who wants to go first?
Oh, I will.
Okay, welcome Pam.
Thank you. Nice to see you again, Paula. Well, actually my brother, Sheldon,
I'll come up.
okay, is the reason that I got published. Because he went first. We had always talked about writing. He did a lot more than I did to start out. And then I've always written poetry and stories, but never anything that got published or anything. So for some reason, I sat down and decided to write a book. I don't know why. I just thought it's time. Because we always wanted to do that, didn't we, Sheldon?
That's right.
Yep. So that's what I did. I happened to have 3 months off work. I had kind of put this together before that. But I had some spare time. I was living in Florida, Naples, Florida. So I had I had moved back there from Minnesota, born and raised, little town down here called Dover. We grew up in a small town in this area. And I actually worked at the police department in Marshall for 3 years. Paula was my boss, good boss. And anyway, anybody got any questions or?
Tell us what your story is about.
Oh, okay. It's about a woman that retires. She's a psychologist. She got quite wealthy by writing some self-help books, by doing some consulting in Minneapolis. She was divorced with 2 children, and they were grown up. And the love of her life had left and moved to Florida to manage condominiums. And she didn't want to go because she had a career in Minnesota. So she went down there and bought a little house on the beach. But she didn't go back down there except very occasionally because he was there. But so it's kind of a little bit of a yearning for love or whatever. And so I moved down there and plopped on the beach, and I drank a lot and ate a lot, smoked a lot of cigarettes, for being a psychiatrist. Well, one day a young lady came along the beach and plopped down, and she says, "I need a shrink." I go, "You're in luck. I'm one." She got up and ran away. I said, "Come back tomorrow, please." She didn't come back for a couple days, but then she came back. And we started a relationship. She had some problems. And slowly, this group grew. She brought her friend, and then another friend came, they heard, and before you know it, she was kind of practicing, but still drinking and smoking and being wild, going to the casino, and hoping she'd run into the man of her life, which she did once, and he was kind of cold to her, so she went back to her beach house, and I've got a beach house and I'm happy. So, and a lot of things happened in this book. It's supposed to be kind of funny. Did you think it was funny?
I thoroughly enjoyed the funny stuff.
Okay. Yes.
Are you Bethany Wade?
No. Parts of me, probably. Back in the old days.
The reason I ask is you just referred to Bethany as I.
Oh. Well, I don't think you can write unless you draw a little bit on yourself or your experience. Don't you agree, Sheldon?
Well, absolutely.
Yep. Now that.
You want me to come up too?
Yeah.
My name's Sheldon Schmitt, and I also grew up in Dover, 40 miles north of here. But I went up to Alaska when I was 18. I went up there for a fishing job for the summer and ended up staying for 4 years. And I worked on fishing boats, I did all kinds of things, but eventually I became a police officer, and that's what my book is about, my 25 years of law enforcement out in the bush. I wanted to write a book about, not really a cop book, I didn't set out to write a cop book. I set out to write a book about village life in Alaska, because it's so different. So it's kind of strange that your book is about the beach and mine's up in Alaska out in the bush. So that's what my book is about. And it draws real heavily on my life, my experiences as a police officer. And I was a police chief when I retired 2 years ago.
Well, maybe mine is kind of based on a dream that I would have gone on and been a psychologist, wrote self-help books, tried to help a lot of people, which I worked pretty much I was in the military for 20 years, but I worked in the office most of my life. So that might be why I'm kind of in the book in my mind, because that's what I sort of wanted to be when I grew up, and I never grew up, so.
I kept coming back to Minnesota from Alaska, and people wanted to hear about it, so I'd tell them stories about what it's like, and they seemed really interested in it. So I started writing them down, and that's what led to the book. What did you think of the police stuff in the book?
I thoroughly enjoyed how you built the characters, and how, being in law enforcement for 30 years, I could name locals that were very similar, but I really enjoyed how you built the characters and
I always wonder about the police, stuff. It's so different out there, especially when you're out in the village. You're kind of making it up as you go.
Sure, but when you talked about your sixth sense about whether or not it was safe to do something, that type of thing, I thought you just nailed those things. I enjoyed both of them very much.
Most of the people in the book are real people that I met through the years as a cop, and then most of the incidences are real too. They're just not the same person doing the same thing.
Sure.
And that's kind of, some of mine too. Well, and I hadn't talked to Paula for a long time, and of course you tried to garner a little, we both came to this area, and so I said, you're in the book at the very end.
How about the tequila thing? Is that you, or is that Bastien?
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
well, I used to drink a lot of tequila. It was my choice of drink, Sheldon. And Paula knows this. So I slowed down a lot because I've had some health issues. And so we always call it a bump. I'll have a bump once in a while when I'm with certain people. But it's got to be cold.
Tequila's cold?
Got to be frozen in the freezer. Yes. Then otherwise it's hard to drink it. Have anybody here ever drank tequila? Well, I'm embarrassed then, but you got to shoot it, because going down it's like.
So I actually brought a live Alaskan with me all the way back from Alaska. This is my wife, Esther. Come up here for a minute. I want you to get on the video camera.
Please, Esther, you're my sister-in-law.
She's my hostage.
You're not that shy, Esther.
My wife is in the book. Her name is Lily in the book. There's the real post back there.
We have a relative here too. My nephew and his wife and Ryoko. Back there, so we're lucky, and a friend, and an interested writer that's working on his own novel.
So with it being your first book for both of you, what was the biggest obstacle that
Well, getting published. finding somebody that was interested in your. I was very insecure about writing. I didn't want anybody. I wouldn't even let anybody look at it first. Then you have to get over that, and I had to get over that, and so I finally did get over that and started sending it out to people. I finished the book, which that was an obstacle in and of itself, is to finish it. And then getting it out to the publishers, and that's the whole process. But then to have somebody actually interested in it, oh my God, my life changed in that moment. I was so happy that somebody actually liked it enough to give me a call and wanted to publish it. Getting across that bridge was like the Rubicon. After that, it's just work. And for me, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, the creativity, sitting down and writing the stories, is the easy part. The hard part is the editing and picking a cover and going over it and over it and over it again and again, because I'm already moving on to the next book, right? So that was kind of my experience of it. How about for you?
Well, yeah, mine was laying around for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And you encouraged me, you talked to your publisher, said my sister wrote one too, so I'll tell her, and then we'll take a look at it. And I think because of him, he had actually went down and met the publisher in Florida. So
We got to get used to rejection, that's for sure, because
I was rejected, I sent it out 13 times, tried to get an agent. Till you break through on your first book and sell maybe 100,000, then you could get an agent. You can, they'll promote you. They'll want you then. But that's the hard part, is getting it published. It really is. It's very, as you can see, it's very competitive. A lot of bestsellers. Unless you've sold one, so you got to get out and promote it, which I haven't done a lot of. He's encouraged me to do that.
I think for some people, sitting down and the actual writing is starting is hard. I don't know how far are you've actually finished this. So sitting down and starting the book and formulating it and where you're going to go, was that hard for you at first? Yeah.
Starting at that blank page.
So I've crossed that. The next book I can tell is going to be a lot easier. I've got an outline, I've got a draft, I've done research already, and I'm ready to go.
Will it be an offshoot of your last book, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely going to follow Chief Snow and Brady's. Lily, my love interest there, is going to take a stronger role in the book. I'm also doing some research on the Tlingit Indians where I live, so that's going to be a little bit bigger part. The first book, I just wrote it out of my head, and it was all based on my experiences, and it's going to still be a lot of that, but I want to be more accurate and a little bit more research on the next one. So, part 2.
Well, and I was lucky because I lived in Florida off and on for 18 years, and my husband was a condominium manager. So we lived right on the beach, or right across from the beach. So I spent a lot of time over there. A lot of the stuff that happened in here on the beach is factual, like watching sea turtles born and people getting baptized in the waters and just stuff like that. I did a lot of scavenging. In fact, my first title was going to be Scavenger of the Beach. And then I don't know why I went to this, but so I didn't do an outline or anything like that. I just sat down one day and started writing. And now I've started a second novel with some of the same characters, not all. And it's really hard because I'm going in a completely different direction.
You're doing a murder mystery next.
Yeah, I'm trying. I've got the prologue done. It's going to be titled Ice House Murders.
We have the consultant right over.
Yeah, I got 2 consultants. And it's hard because I got to figure out how they get murdered, how we figure out the murders. And it's a total different direction from what I normally write. I write kind of feel-good stuff, or try to. So, and I think it's because I live near Lake Mille Lacs, if any of you ever been up there. And we live, and I go by it every day in the wintertime, and all these ice houses out there, and after a long winter of ice and snow, you kind of get feeling murderous. So I thought, Ice House Murders would be a great title.
You guys have had a heck of a winter this year, too.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I think I took off on that, but I'm in the hard part right now. Like, I haven't got an outline, haven't got a real direction, and I got the prologue of how it starts, and I'm stuck. Any ideas there, Sheldon?
While you were talking, I was thinking about the crime scene stuff, the stuff that I know,
Yeah.
and how the cops work, and how they think, and how they talk, with a lot of profanity. And the other thing I was thinking about was the title. They didn't like your title. See, they didn't want my title either, but I stuck to it. Yeah.
Well, and they kept wanting to change it to Counselor on the Beach. And I go, no. It's Counselor, the publisher himself, when he would email me, Counselor on the Beach. I go, no, email him back. In fact, when they sent me the first proof of the cover, they had Counselor on the Beach. No, it's Counselor of the Beach. You got to stick to your guns on certain things.
My biggest concern is getting too much real life in it.
Yeah.
Because then at some point, you just can't worry about everything. And I worry about stuff. But where I live now, I don't know how close to the bone, or I don't, how much I should include in the town where I'm from, because I don't want that to come back and bite me and stuff. So that's why I'm sticking to the bush right now. But part of this next book is going to be in situ where I live, so I'm going to test the waters.
Well, and me too. It's going to be in that area of Mille Lacs, because I already got the name of the lake. It's called No Name Lake. Because I know what you mean. And when I finished my book, my husband had to listen every night while I was writing it, chapter after chapter, glazed look on his face. But when I finished it, I didn't want to show it to anybody. My niece wanted me to send it. I just was very, very possessive of it. I was afraid nobody would like it and that they would be critical of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You were one of the first people I sent my book to. You're talking about moments, getting published was a big deal, but seeing it on Amazon was a big deal too, and then they actually have clicks. And my other sister wrote and said she bought $10. I couldn't just kiss her.
I bought 12 reviews.
And I thought, well, I sold 10 anyway.
Gave them all away.
So,
One is out being read right now. And that's the thing. You want people to buy your books, so you start giving them away to your friends. And I swim with a bunch of ladies, and instead of saying, oh, well, go out on Amazon and buy one, they're passing it around to each other. One finishes and on to the next. So that's another thing is, like he said, when you see it, and he said something to me the other day, because I kind of, when people ask me how a book, I'll say, oh, it's a silly book, And you said, we are authors now, Pam. No matter what happens, we're authors. I mean, we can say that proudly, and that's a big moment for both of us.
yeah, you have to kind of get over that and sell yourself a little bit. Neither one of us are that type of people, but
No, we can sell somebody else, but not ourselves. So, can you think of any other questions that you'd like?
Do you have a favorite passage?
I have, my whole book is my favorite, but I can read one if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You're gonna have to too, Shell. I'm his older sister, so I still try to boss him around. I sat up straight, heart pounding. Someone was banging on my door, ringing my door bell, shouting. Now what? I thought. I ran out of the bedroom in my beach shift, hair wild, drool running out of my mouth, thinking somebody was dying or something. Open this door right now or I will call the police. Is it a mentally ill neighbor I don't know about? Hold your horses. I swung the door open and a woman shoved by me. I gawked at her like an idiot, thinking maybe I was to be killed or something similar. Listen, lady, whoever you are, calm down and tell me what's going on. No, lady, you listen, her talking to me. What are you, some kind of lesbian or something? Inviting my daughter over here to spend the weekend. That bunch of friends she has at the health club are all crazy or lesbian. Preying on young girls. I should call 911 right now and have you arrested. I stood there in my pile of frumpiness, dazed. Who the hell is this? It dawned on me suddenly. Katie's mother. First a crazed husband, now a bitch on wheels. If the kids were here and saw my face, they would go, "No, Mom, no." They knew too well the signs of the drill sergeant breaking out. I gathered myself and got right in her face. Who the hell are you? I'm calling 911 to report an assault and I have your skinny little ass hauled off to the clink. Excuse any children here. Esther, I'm sorry, your ears. Now either calm down and talk to me or get the hell out of here. So that's one of my favorite characters that comes in. She ends up being one of my favorite character in the book. She was looking for her daughter, and she ends up being one of my best friends in the book. So, all right. Any questions?
You did it again. You referred to her as each other.
Oh. Sorry. Oh well.
Intentional or not, a lot of your personality and the things that we've talked about over the years came through in your book, and it was so much fun because you could add that human and think about the situations where we had talked about your scavenging on the beach and different things like that, and it just came through. It's so fun in your book.
Well, and like when the kids say, "No, Mom, no," that is me coming out. Because when we would go in a store and the clerk was rude or something, I would get this certain tone of voice, like, "Are you having a bad day?" And the kids would go, "Oh my God, here we go, she's gonna embarrass us," you know. So that is part of me coming out. You can't really write without putting some of yourself in it, Joel. So, okay.
You should write.
Yes.
You've got experiences.
Not really.
What's the favorite passage?
I've got several, but I didn't mark them, but I'll read something. I just wanted to thank the library for having us here tonight. Marshall and Lyon County Library. It's a beautiful place. And thank everybody for coming. Well, I didn't set out to write a cop book, right? But it turns out that I am a cop, and I was a cop for a long time, so I couldn't avoid it. So I did end up drifting that way, and this passage, I'll set it up a little bit. The chief of police is Brady Nelson, and this passage is about his conflict with a bad guy called Buck Nelson. Did I say Brady Snow? Did I say Brady something? Anyway, it's Brady Snow. This is the chief. Chief Snow didn't see Buck Nelson until it was too late. Nelson barreled into Snow like a linebacker, driving the chief into the dirt. The chief lay stunned, feeling all of his old injuries. Nelson had been very wary of Snow ever since he showed up. He thought the police chief might suspect Nelson was up to no good, and there was no way Nelson was going to let this cop screw up his good thing. They were out in the middle of nowhere, no one was around. Easy to get rid of the body, Nelson thought, and tough to prove what happened. Nelson was a quick thinker and bold, not afraid to act on instinct. It was why he'd acted so nonchalant and congenial at first. Nelson wanted Snow to relax. And Snow did. The one advantage that bad guys had over normal people was their willingness to kill without hesitation, do the deed without stopping or remorse. Nelson had decided it was just a matter of whether Snow was stupid or green enough to give him the opening. Once Nelson saw the chance, he did not hesitate. He was all in now. Snow was a dead man. Chief Snow hit the ground hard, but instinctively rolled away. Nelson recovered quickly and scrambled back on top of Snow, grabbing for his throat. Snow squirmed and pushed with his legs, first one way and then the other, old wrestling moves that usually worked at getting out from under. But Nelson was strong and countered each move. The two tussled for what seemed like an eternity. Snow kept Nelson off his throat, but Nelson's power and size ground Snow down. Snow bucked once hard, got a little space, and slid his hand to release his weapon. He pulled the gun out, but Nelson knocked it loose and grabbed the chief's throat. Snow began to panic and fought like a maniac as darkness crept into the corners of his vision. He grunted and wheezed, and Nelson tightened his grip. Brings back memories of being in fights, I'll tell you what. So that passage kind of sets the thread of the plot line, good guy versus bad guy, throughout the book. But the book itself is more about the village and the people and the day-to-day life, and the bears and the plains, and doing the job, which is not exciting like this all the time. A lot of times it's boring and funny, doing stupid stuff. But so I think.
Well, and I want to thank Paula too for, I wish we could have more people come, but thank you, Paula, and Miss Paula, and Esther, and you as a writer. You find that you love to talk to other writers, and Joe, and Naomi, because you all have that feeling, that same feeling. I'm sorry, but I'm going to make him suffer through just another short passage.
Go ahead.
Yeah. This feels wonderful. I floated out a little ways and just relaxed. Salt water made me feel so light and buoyant. It was fun to just float and watch the pelicans diving for food. I liked to people watch too. Everyone on the beach had a story, that was for sure. The Hispanic families had such fun out there with their beach stuff, Latino music, food, and coolers. I felt happy too and decided to take a walk. I threw my noodle on the porch, grabbed a plastic public bags for shells, my beach jacket, and money, just in case there was a food stand. I would have a golden tan soon. Oh, look at that guy in the Speedo. Oh, he needs a new one. His privates are hanging pretty low in that one. That was what I liked about Florida. Everyone just let it all hang out. So, does anybody have any questions?
Sheldon, you've got a picture of a dog over there. Is that a police dog, or is that your dog? Or
That's my dog. That's Shadow, right? Kobe.
Yeah.
And we had two dogs look exactly alike. And
We just went to visit him and then took a picture.
yeah, that's me and with my dog in uniform when I was a chief there at Sick. I just retired a couple of years ago in my office. The picture above that is with the tribal leader. I worked a lot with the tribe up there on tribal courts and diversion programs and whatnot. That picture of the town is actually Kodiak, which is where this is set, where the book is set. And that's me by a glacier, and that picture with the arch is up in Barrow, Alaska, where I worked for 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say we used to joke because you were in Barrow and I was in Naples, which is like the furthest place almost.
It's exactly right. It'd be like 40 below where I'm at.
90 about.
I went the wrong direction.
No. No, I was glad to come back to Minnesota and get cooled off a little bit. So, and I want to thank Sheldon because I would have never got mine published without his encouragement.
It was really Mom, though. Our mother was our inspiration for, she taught us to read. She was a school teacher, and she encouraged us to read, and she encouraged me to write.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that, but she did.
We read and read and read, and a lot in our family read it. And I see kids, nieces and nephews starting to read.
Yeah.
And I can remember Mom, she had 8 kids. I don't know how many there was when she did this, but she loved to read, but she's busy, you know, and she worked too. But when it was time to go to bed, we'd sit on the stair steps, and I remember her reading Grapes of Wrath. And it was, yeah, and I was like, wow, every night you couldn't wait for the next chapter, you know. So that inspired a lot of, but Dad read newspapers, like 14 of them.
He was very fact-oriented.
Especially the court reports. Who got picked up, who died, obituaries, stuff like that. So he liked to be the, you know, knowledgeable person about what was going on. And Mom could have cared less, you know, so.
So have you sold your book already, your second book already? Did your publisher request it, or you just had it?
They requested it.
That's
yes.
wonderful.
Not me, he hasn't requested mine yet. So I'll work on it, maybe Shal can encourage him, oh, you should really, you know, read Pam's book. But I'm not gonna be so shy this time about having other people read parts of it, or my husband was the only one that knew what was going on in it. I just was very scared about it. So, and as people read it, you kind of wait, what are they going to say? I was lucky, Paula, she read it about all in one night. And then my daughter-in-law, she just read it because she knew we were doing this. And she goes, you're not just going to leave all those characters hanging out there, are you? What are they doing? What are they going to do? You better not. So
I think I was sensitive and worried about the criticism, but you got to get over that too, and you do, because they go over your book to find people home and give you constructive feedback. Sometimes you don't agree, but you just have to get over that part, and I did.
yeah,
pretty quickly.
You helped me with that. For being my younger brother, you sure helped me a lot, didn't you?
It's easier to give advice now.
Oh, well, you've always encouraged me in everything I've ever done, but, so, we're a lot of the same psyche or something. I don't know what it is.
I don't know, left brain, you know, more like our mother than our father. Probably.
Yes. Yeah. Bad memories.
So Sheldon, did you ask any of the people that you have in your book if that was okay? Like, I was thinking of your wife, did she know that you were going to put her in the book, and did you have a discussion about that?
No, I didn't. I think it's, the old saying is it's easier to beg for forgiveness, right, than ask permission. I did talk to the tribe. I have a lot of friends that are tribal leaders about portraying their culture and talking about, you know, I gave it to one of my best friends who's a native to have her look at it just to make sure it was okay. I mean, I was very, I thought, respectful in how I was portraying the culture. But there's a lot of alcohol and fighting and stuff, and that's life, you know. So that, I did ask for feedback on that, but I just went ahead on it. The rest of it, I just went ahead on.
Well, and I just changed names and stuff. There's a few people that can recognize, but I wanted, like my kids, I wanted them thrown in there somewhere, you know. So I renamed them in there, and I was very, not a lot about them, but I did throw them in there. Because if it's the only book I ever write, someday they can maybe give it to the great-grandkid and say, oh, you know, your great-grandma wrote a book, you know? So.
Were they able to pick themselves out?
Oh, yeah. And that's why I had to make sure they were all in there. So, but, you know.
Did they complain about how they were portrayed at all?
No, because I just very basically I was living in Florida and they were all in Minnesota. And I just said, they kept calling me. My daughter's in there a lot. Mom, what are you doing? You know, when am I coming down? You know, stuff like that. But yeah, it's probably because she's close to my heart, you know. But her friends at work that read it, they tease her. We know you're in there. We know who you are in there. But she doesn't mind.
Yeah, with my wife's role in the book, I definitely asked, that kind of goes without saying as a husband, asked for permission in that regard. Esther actually came up with the character's name. She was a different name, but Esther changed the name to Lily.
You talked about having some challenge on what title you had for your book. How did you go about getting the cover art? They're both very striking.
The publisher helped a lot with the cover art. They're pros at it. I picked out some pictures. The silhouette of the man is something that they came up with. And people have asked me if that's me. Because it actually looks like a picture that I have of me, but it's not. That was their idea. The title was something that was mine for a long time, and it was a working title for a long time. So when they wanted to change it, I just couldn't change it. I just get stuck to it. It wasn't a big fight. I just said no. I don't think they understood the blues part at first. Are you sad or what? And I said, no, blues like police, you know. But they warmed up to it. You have to pick your battles.
Yeah, and I kind of gave them a general idea, and they sent me like 6. And the one they wanted actually is on my bulletin board. They wanted this shell dropping into the ocean. And so what I did share that. Then I took it to my family and let them look at it. And actually my stepson wanted this one. My daughter and my best friend for 100 years, they wanted this one. And I didn't like this X on here. And my daughter said, well, that's what's appealing about it, because I was afraid the Red Cross would think it was, but it's not, you know, exactly. And I was afraid the Red Cross was going to get me. But my daughter said, well, you can't take that off of there, then it's just a lady sitting there. So I ended up going by with those 2 because I trusted them. Because my daughter doesn't read. She hasn't read my book. She used to read, doesn't anymore. Hopefully she'll come back to it. But she said when you go into a store, you want a lot of people look and go by what attracts them about the cover. So she goes, that's what I would pick out, Mom. So
one of the cool things that the publisher came up with is everything's online now. They ran I guess they had 2. They had this cover and they had another cover, and they had people vote on it. And this was overwhelmingly, this was the cover people wanted. I wanted something different, or my cover was something different. This is
yours
what
was
the people
whale
wanted.
bones, right?
Yeah, I had something from Barrow that I wanted on it. The poll was for this one.
Yeah. And they help you develop a website. We both have our own websites. I got a business card up there if you ever want to go out and look at it. You can go out and blog on it, which I haven't done. Have you blogged on yours?
A little bit.
Okay, I haven't. And it's a very nice website though. And you could do pre-orders on there. And I think they like to see, because they want you to do a lot of your own promotion. So by social media, Twitter, which I don't do. I did sign up.
Tweet?
I don't tweet, no. I do Facebook, LinkedIn. I signed up for all of them and they just sit there. I get notices all the time. So there's certain things that enter into it. You've got to have a place they can point your website at. You got to find that. So you do have to do some of your own work, you know.
So is this a publishing company that you pay to be published, or they pay you, or they provide the services?
Nowadays, there's everything from self-publishing to a traditional deal. Back in the old days, and I have a friend who's an author who's been published for about 20 years. Back then, you got a contract that paid you a lot of money, and they did everything else. You just wrote the book. Now you can do everything in between. And mine is more towards the traditional end, where I signed a contract, but they did provide all the editing services and the cover services and stuff like that. And I think yours is pretty similar, right?
Well, mine is more the middle road, the co-publishing, but they gave me a big discount because they published him. So, like I said, I owe a lot of it to you. So, it's kind of in between. You know, a lot of people self-publish nowadays because you've got to get started somewhere. And you can do it in a very simple manner, or you can do it in a very expensive manner. They call it vanity public. But a lot of people that I know, I met with an author today, and she's published 3 books. And she self-published them, you know. But it used to be a lot less expensive to self-publish, you know. And nowadays you could, because of all the graphics and everything, you could do quite a bit of your own stuff. But still, eventually you've got to have it binded. And the thing I liked about this company is they come out with a very professional product. And they encourage you to donate to something. So
And they had the distribution network and connection with Amazon and stuff. That would have been more difficult for me to do by myself. I don't know if there's that much traditional publishing going on. I imagine there are some guys that, you know, that come right out of, have a great book and get a contract for big money right out of the gate, but I think that's becoming less normal.
unfortunately, you know, it's huge competition out there. Especially, I don't know if you've noticed, political books are huge right now. And it seems like everybody is writing an autobiography, doesn't it? To rock stars, to...
Michelle Obama.
Yeah. Well, and I hear her book is absolutely fabulous. I haven't read it yet, Michelle Obama's. But my brother read it, Kenny, said excellent. So unless you're famous, or I think even Taylor Swift wrote one. She's only like 27, but... So right now it's political books. If you watch any politic news, I think everybody on there has written a book. So it's hard. It's hard, but if you really want to do it, you know, we both... To me, it's my legacy. You know, if I never publish again, I have had a few short stories published recently in a poem. But, so I write when I feel like it. I was thinking about doing a little newsletter in our town because we don't get much publicity. But it's just, I did it. It's done. There, I can move on. Maybe do another one and maybe not.
Nice House Murders coming out.
I hope so. I don't know if I can get it out of my brain or not. So, any other comments, questions?
We'll be around for a while.
Yeah, I hope we
Yeah,
helped you a little bit. And you can have one of our business cards if you ever want to get a hold of us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.